Ron Paul recently said the one area that he could see a lot of revenue coming in from, he's a libertarian Republican, founder of the Tea Party, but he represents the libertarian wing, which is considerably different from the social conservative wing. Libertarians could be viewed as far left as much as they are far right because they believe in a society based not on force. So you shouldn't force people take money from one guy and give it to another, because that's a form of coercion. There's a lot of thoughts in the left that have to do with not having a coercive society, although it's kind of idealism in that they didn't develop a mechanism for getting there that was very good. So, so at any rate, Ron Paul said that we could we can get money back from the people who ripped us off. And what that means is that the libertarian model is that the reason we want to get rid of government from a poor person's point of view would be that it just accelerates the siphoning off of wealth from the people to the large corporate interests. Because how do you get your money if you're a guy in the government? You don't get it from shares in the government. You get it from shares in private corporations. So fundamentally, you launder all of your money into the corporate sector. And when you get out of office, some of these people start with a couple 100,000 in assets. They end up with 10 million, 100 million, a billion assets. Here in the US, not in a third world country. They do it legally. On the surface, but under the surface, it's not really legal. So this is a very interesting idea because it means that when we shift to a very tiny federal government with very limited government even in the states, but a transition period at both levels, as Ron Paul said, to the state level to get to a laissez-faire government, you need people, as Ron Paul says, to take care of themselves, which means to be an opt-in co-op type organizations. That's what I described in the last 7 sessions. Now, this session has to do with how do we get the burden of the government off of our backs so we don't have to give them money, because it's hard to develop a self-sufficient economy and have great schools and great medicine and great universities. It's hard work. And if you have to constantly be subsidizing incompetence in Sacramento and Washington, for our case, it makes it harder. And what you don't want to file as a religious group, because then you end up as a religious group, and that would be horrible for creating a libertarian community. So you don't want to mix religion into food, for example. So at any rate, this would allow us to obtain a lot of our sovereignty, our economic sovereignty, through doing an investigation into all the government corruption, left, liberal, black and white, every one of them. And then follow that chain, follow the money into the corporate sector. And I believe that could lead to your community maybe having 10 or 20% of its assets returned to it. How and it's very simple. Really, you should just simply directly pay everyone in the United States, or some could be shares in ventures that are in their area that would be spun off from this wealth restoration. So I don't know all the details, but that's the final chapter in how we get going, and I'm still developing it.